I hope you had a good holiday. I feel kind of bad. My girlies over at Flower Nose sent me their Strawberry Rococo collection, which, so grateful. Thank you so much. But they've already come out with another collection, like the chocolate shop collection. So I feel bad for doing this really late because they kept putting it off. But I guess better late than never, right? Just like the last one, all the packaging is so over the top. Their blushes, Jesus. Their lip tints and stuff, oh my God. I think I'm missing one tint and one blush, but it's totally fine. I haven't put on any foundation yet, but if you want to just skip that part, like my base and eyebrows, you can just skip to this time here, or you can kind of scroll down below. I'll put little chapter markers. Oh my God, you guys, this is foundation I've been using since like college, which is like a decade ago. But I don't know why I stopped using it, because this is like the OG long wearing and transfer proof foundation, the Revlon COLORSTAY, and they still have this. And also the color selection is a lot better now. Back then they literally had like 10 versions of beige, but now they actually have much deeper colors, which I think though you might have to go online, like on Amazon, to buy like the darker colors, because I don't remember seeing every single one like in person at the store. But they actually have a version for normal to dry skin and a version for combination to oily, and I like them both. They're both long wearing and they both look super skin-like. The only downside I would say for either of these is that it just smells like paint. If you look at most reviews of this foundation, that's generally what they tend to say, but other than that, they're all really good. As compared to some of the long wearing like foundations that you get these days, it doesn't dry down like paint, you know what I mean? It doesn't dry down like super hard and like makes your skin look all like gross. This collection, by the way, they also have mirrors. I had this one and the black one, but I gave my friend the black one. You know, I've been like really going off on AliExpress.com lately because there's just so, like the only bad thing about AliExpress is that everything takes a long time to get to you, but there's so many cool things on there that are really fucking cheap. Like this sponge, actually, this sponge isn't the cheapest kind of makeup sponge that you can get. You have to get the one with this written on the handle because there's other ones exactly like this, but there's no writing on the handle, and those ones are a little bit harder. They're still good, but this one, it literally feels like it's like the squishiest makeup puff ever. So much better than things like beauty blenders and stuff like that. And it blends out your foundation like a fucking dream. And it's huge, so you can basically, like, I'm basically done blending this side of my face. And if you apply it that particular way, there's like barely any foundation on here. So all you have to do is, I take this particular bar of soap. I saw someone on like some forum mention this bar of soap. Originally it's like a detergent, but it's really good for makeup brushes and for stuff like this. You just rub it on there. Because all the foundation is just on the surface of the puff, like it doesn't eat up. You're not spending all this time trying to like wash out all the foundation stuck in the sponge. My parents moved to Germany because of a job opportunity. So right now I'm visiting San Antonio, but it's just me and my two sisters. So our Christmas was kind of like very low-key and chill. Like we literally just stayed home. The thing is, our aunt, we're Filipino, so when we say aunt, we mean like family friend. She also lives here in San Antonio, so we just went to her house on the 24th to have like a Christmas dinner. And then on actual Christmas day, we didn't do anything. I just played Dead by Daylight all day. I feel like the older I get, the less important I feel like holidays are to me, even birthdays. I like don't really do anything fancy. If anything, I'll just like have a nice, small, intimate dinner with my friends. The other really good thing about this is because it's not super thick and like paint-like, it just smells like paint. It's easy to actually layer it, because sometimes with other, like my favorite foundation these days, the Charlotte Tilbury, it's good, but if you want to layer it, because the first layer dried down really hard almost, sometimes it's hard to like layer on, but this one it feels really, almost very liquidy compared to that, so it's easy to just go back on with another layer in parts that you need. It builds on top of itself really nicely, basically, but it still looks like skin. Of course, you want to make sure that your skin, like you prep your skin properly for makeup, but other than that, it's really fucking nice. I'm trying to go for like flawless skin today because the Doyen girlies, the Doyen TikToks and shit, they've been taking over my life because that's like all I watch. Even though they're literally like 10 seconds of just like a person with a bare face and then they like do this thing or like whatever. It's just like a transformation, but I love it. And the thing is, they all literally look the same. Like even if the before face looks different, all the after faces, they all look the same. But I feel like that's just a product of like trends and like just, you know, especially when all of them are doing their makeup exactly like that, they're all probably gonna end up looking the same. But I'm obsessed with that look, so we're gonna do that. As per usual, my MALU WILZ concealers with this SkinFood Dark Circle Salmon Dark Circle Concealer, which has been around since, I first arrived in Korea like 10 years, like a decade ago. Standing the test of time, it's like a classic. If you want something similar, if you can find it, I don't know if they have it anymore, but the Becca under eye brightener, exactly the same formula. But the Becca one comes in like a darker color as well. So if you have a deeper skin tone, you can use that for like the darkness around your face. I guess the only issue is though, Becca, like they don't exist anymore as a brand. So you might have trouble finding it in some places. So if you can find it online, check that out. Because these are like kind of hard, I'm going to take a little bit of that liquid foundation on a brush. And then I'm going to kind of mix it in with this, just to kind of like make it a little bit more malleable. So I used my foundation color along with one that's slightly darker and more orangey, just so I can cover my beard. You can kind of see the difference that makes. Also doing the same thing, liquid foundation in a more greenish concealer. I'm just putting that here because I have redness between my brows. Usually you'll see the Douyin girls with like super like matte, soft, flawless looking skin, but I'm gonna let the foundation kind of like settle first. I'm gonna do my brows next, but first I'm gonna put on some primer, the classic Urban Decay. I use the SKINFOOD brow stuff as per usual. Every year though, when I do come here, we try to take Christmas photos, but this year, because it was just me and Abigail and Victoria, we just had like a little mini photo shoot in front of our little mini tree. I set my camera up almost in a kind of like insignia shot style, which is really popular these days in Korea. Kind of like the purikura sort of vibe where I set it vertically. I don't have my remote, so I use my phone. Like I connected my phone to the camera and we use that as like a shutter. So we took some pictures, I'll put some here. But God, it reminded me, like trying to take photos with those dogs reminded me of like, if you're old enough, you'll remember you could take family photos at Sears, back when Sears was a thing. My brows are looking a little messy, like they're growing out a lot, but I'm trying to grow them out because I don't know, when I'm bored, I like to cut my eyebrows. And I think I went a little bit too crazy this time, so I'm missing a lot of fucking hair. Every time I look at my brows, it reminds me of when I did that right before I filmed a video a long time ago with Kunakun, K&K. And when they were doing it, they were like, why is this brow missing so much hair? It was embarrassing. So I'm like triggered by that. As much as I want to show you every single product here on my face, it would be impossible to do in one video. These are their eyeshadow palettes, and I swear to God, these formulas are my favorites lately, and they're so much better than even like Korean eyeshadows. But there's something about these shadows, they're just so much smoother, and almost in a way, almost like they still have that kind of K-beauty eyeshadow quality, but they almost feel more pigmented and really smooth. They're a little bit like, there's a little bit of fallout, but if you work a brush really well, then you shouldn't have too much problem, but they're just a joy to work with. But the Strawberry Rococo collection basically is very springy, very bright colors. You saw me pull this one out. This is actually quite bright and out there, like pastel colors, but this is only one of 2 shadows out of the 5 that are kind of like out there colors. The rest are actually very wearable. But this is number 1, Creamy Macarons. I just need to show you the packaging up close because gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. This is number 2, Champs Misty Rose. Also kind of more colorful. They all have 4 mattes and then 1 shimmer. I swear to God, no one makes glittery, shimmery eyeshadows better than Chinese makeup brands. The legit ones. I'm not talking about like the fake ones on AliExpress that you can find. You can actually find Flower Nose on AliExpress. They have an official store on there, but there are actually like more like copy brands that use Flower Nose official photos. If you do shop on AliExpress for Flower Nose, you need to make sure that you actually go to the official global store on there. There is this look that one of the models has that I think is so pretty that I want to try. This is actually my favorite one, which I didn't think I would like when I first saw it, but it has been like, I just like reach for this all the fucking time. It's number 3, Black Currant Cold Brew. And bitch, that is moody as shit. It's a very smoky palette, very like gray, but you can also actually, it's very wearable actually. This diamond little glitter shimmer here, oh, perfect. I think I might actually use that one today. This is actually number 1, Ice Cream Latte. Very wearable, everyday kind of muted, neutral browns. A lot of Chinese makeup brands have very neutral colors, which I love. I always just assume it's just like red, like bright red, which is, actually they do have a lot of like lip tints that are bright red, but other than that, a lot of the colors are very muted and very easy to wear. And then there's number 2, which is the warmest one, I think, which is called Sweet Canels, I think. As you can see, very more caramely, warm browns. More pinky brown rather than like orangey yellow brown, which I like, so I use this a lot as well. In general, the first 3 palettes, I've just been reaching for non-stop for the past like month or 2 since I received these. So if you want something safe, I will go for that. But today we're going with number 3, which is like my go-to. I usually use the 3rd color as my base, but I feel like you might not see it that well because of my lighting, so I'm gonna mix the last 2. Usually I would just do base, deepening color, and then like this as my eyeliner. Again, because they're more powdery eyeshadows, I always make sure that after I dip, I do this so that it gets in the brush and not just fly into the atmosphere. Say hello.
Are you filming right now?
Yeah.
Hi.
Abigail was supposed to go to, where was it? Arizona, but literally every flight until New Year's got canceled. So she's been in the airport since 4 a.m. but right now it's like what? Almost 4 p.m.
4 p.m.
Anyway, poor Abby, but honestly I could see it coming. I think they were saying like they were understaffed or something because the staff wanted to spend time for the holidays with their family, which is totally understandable, but I don't know, I just thought it was crazy that they wouldn't let them know, like all the people that bought tickets. So everyone was like in line for like at least 5-6 hours trying to get refunds or try to reschedule. And then I'm gonna use like just a concentrated bit of that 4th color to put on my outer corner here. Oh my God, this is so pretty. And it's not like, at least on my skin tone, it's not like completely like straight up cement gray. There's almost a bit of browniness to it. So I don't have to use like a kind of brown transition, because sometimes if you're gonna be using like really gray colors, you need to put a little bit of a brown like to blend out the edge, just so it doesn't look too, like your eyes don't look cold or like you got punched in the face. Slight bit of taupiness to it. So now we're going for the full Doyen fantasy. So I need to kind of do Aegyo because that is kind of part of the look. So I'm gonna use my Etude House concealer pencil here. I didn't really put primer under my eye because I knew I would be doing this. And then quickly before it dries, I spread it out. You don't have to go straight up to the lash line because there's gonna be eyeshadow there anyway. So kind of just like on the fatty part of the Aegyo. And those 2 colors that I use for my base, I'm gonna run that under my eye. I'm gonna start out here on the corner because I want most of the color to be out here. And then whatever's left, I'll bring it towards the front part of the eye. The more wearable palettes, they all have a really bright ivory shade in here. So I'll take that and I'll use it almost like a cut crease sort of eyeshadow. Usually you would use a concealer for the cut crease, which is a makeup thing that's been around for years and years. But because these shadows are really pigmented, I can just use this one to kind of do this. And with this kind of brush, it makes it super easy to just this sort of brightening thing. And I find it's a little bit more wearable than trying to do a full-on like with concealer cut crease. And sometimes what I'll do is take a little pointy brush and use the 2 colors that I used in the beginning to kind of go above where I just did and kind of define that. You see what I did there? This is a gray palette though, so doing that doesn't really matter because I'm gonna be contouring. This is basically where I contour my nose anyway, so I don't really have to do that, but I just wanted to show you. And then I'm gonna use the same ivory color on my Aegyo here. And really quickly, I have this Aegyo pen from HOLIKA. I think it's running out, I need to buy more. Whenever I do this, I have concealer and foundation under my eye, so it kind of picks it up because it's technically a wet pen. And then the part that really brings the whole thing together, I'm gonna use the darkest shade as an eyeliner. This is a shape that I've been doing a lot. I guess the girlies in the West call it like siren eyes or something. Putting some here. Not too much because this is something that can look really unnatural, especially with my specific eye shape. I'll mix a little bit of this sometimes so that it's not too dark. And I put some right here, almost in the waterline. And then stopping shy of where my eyelid starts to curve downwards. And then I connect it here. If I feel like I want to make this a little bit more pointy, I don't take the same black. I feel like I might make a mistake and make it even longer than it should be. So I'll take these ones to almost blend it out to make it a little bit longer. I'll take a mix of the two dark colors and then run it right on, like right at the roots of the bottom lashes. You really don't want to fuck this up and go any lower than you need to, because that, especially if you have a more, not necessarily Asian shaped eye, more of like, you know, my kind of eye, I suppose. I'm Asian, but you're basically manipulating your eye shape to look a little bit more longer. And once you get to about here, then you just want to bring it out straight. Okay, taking the dark again, and we're just completing the eyeliner on the top bit, right here on the outer corner. I'm stopping right here, right where my eye ends. I'm just making this little triangle right here. Again, this kind of second to the darkish color mixed with the darkest, and just pulling it out. So hopefully you can see the difference between the two eyes. Add some shimmer because we can't do this look without shimmer. So using a little pointy brush right here, just right under the pupil, right at the lash line again. I used to put it like all over here, but I feel like it just looks messy. But I feel like just a slight point, like little focus right here, just makes it like, just so that when like you're turning your head, it flashes just slightly. I think it looks so pretty. Right at the part right here where there's like a cut crease, I like to put it there as well. Oh, ooh. I love it, I love it, I love it, I love it, I love it. And just to complete it, using a little bit of mascara. This is the point, if you do wear eyelashes, this is where they would use like those individual spiky lashes to give them that like fairy look. For me, I just use mascara. Just to keep it wearable, for me, I guess. But I promise you, if you do those lashes, that's what really completes the look. I fucking love that. Oh God. One thing I want to note is that if you have really round eyes like me, like from the side, like it's just very round, if you're doing aegyo, you kind of have to draw your little aegyo line like straight across, because around the inner and outer corner of the eye, it starts to curve upwards. But if you follow that, the aegyo line will just end up looking like a dark circle line. I'm using a contour palette. You really want to make sure you're literally just like almost just cutting straight across here. And also, you don't have to go too far into here, because if you go too far in here, again, it will look like a dark circle line. This has been my favorite eyeshadow contouring palette lately. It's another Chinese product. I make it sound like it's a bad thing. I guess it's just because I'm technically a K-beauty channel, but I've been just using Chinese shit for the past like few months. But this brand called LITTLEONDINE, which this as well, if you look for this on AliExpress, look for the official one. The more expensive one, it might be like $30, $40. They have a lot of cheaper ones, but those like, they're less pigmented and a little bit harder. That could be a good or bad thing. If you're more heavy-handed with makeup and you can be like me and you end up, your nose contour will just end up looking like lines. That might not be a bad thing, but that's something to look out for. But I think the printing is so interesting. This is the lighter contour. It's supposed to be a nose. Then you have like darker contour when it's in the shape of a mouth. It's all 3D, which can be a little bit annoying to get the brush in there, especially if I'm using this one to contour my face and I need to use a bigger brush. It doesn't get on the brush evenly, so I kind of have to do this. Super gray, but they have a slight, like I said, but like the eyeshadow, a slight bit of taupiness. This is supposed to be like a matte brightening color, which I don't really use because it doesn't really show up on me. This was supposed to be an eye, but this ear right here is supposed to be like shimmer. I'll use it, actually, you know what? I'll use it right now. Oh my God, I'm sorry, I just keep talking about AliExpress. I got these two really interestingly shaped brushes. I got them as a set from AliExpress and they're super cheap again. But these are actually really great for nose contour. If you contour your nose like me in a specific shape, this whole look is by no means like natural looking at all. Like if you see this outside in the sunlight, honey. But this shit just makes it so fucking easy to shape exactly where I need to. They're not fluffy and they're more on the hard, dense side, so you need to be extra careful because you can definitely go with too much. That's why I'm just using the lighter contour color in here. I do the bottom of my nose, and with whatever's left, I kind of just tap right here because, oh my God. In that video where I filmed with, it was a Get Ready With Me with Day from Roadbee, bitch, I wasn't paying attention, so I like literally just drew a fucking line across my nose. So even now, it's still a little bit liney, but for the video, it looks fine. I think like in person, it looks like shit. And then I use the skinny little one, the skinny little sickle brush. I use this right here, using that ear highlighter, and then right at the tip. Oof. The light is coming, take back everything the darkness stole. I'm gonna use this powder. This is the no color powder, the RCMA no color powder, that's what it is. A lot of powders lately come in colors, but this one is supposed to have no color, so any skin tone can use it. If you do use a lot, you do need to kind of like brush off, like you see how it's like white here? Brush off the excess. Like with a big brush like this. Also, I don't like it when glitter falls on my face, so just take a soft spoolie brush and brush those off. Because I feel like if you have sparkle here, it's like point, but then if you see it falling on your face, I just feel like it looks really ugly. Okay, let's go with blush, my favorite. I love these blushes. Let me make sure I get the numbers correctly this time. Again, the packaging on these is immaculate. This is number 1. I feel like you can't see it on camera. It's more of like a peachy pink in person. On camera, it looks so white. This is number 2. Again, at least on my monitor, it's looking really washed out, but this is like a brighter, cool tone pink. This is number 4, which I feel like it definitely goes with the black packaging of the eyeshadow I use. I think because in a way, it's almost like they probably made them to work with each other. This is number 4, Dream Chaser. Gorgeous, gorgeous color. This is a really muted, soft milk tea pink. And then number 5, I'm missing number 3, but this is number 5. It's like a really bright, saturated, like a grapefruit pink. I feel kind of bad because I just realized now that this is exactly the makeup I was using in that Get Ready With Me with Day, but you know what? It's better that I just show you the products that I like to use consistently rather than just trying new shit. Oh, and also they came with 2, I guess they come out with brushes, like blush brushes for every new collection, and they're all slightly different. This was the unicorn one. I forgot to bring the one that came with the strawberry rococo. The strawberry rococo brushes look exactly like this, but they just have that slightest like angle to them. So I guess it's easier to like put on your blush, but I know for the new chocolate shop collection, they're more rounded. They're all basically this kind of like stippling brush, which is amazing for putting blush on because it gets the color on but blends it out at the same time beautifully. I just wish it was slightly smaller so you have a little bit more control, but I guess they made it this size on purpose. On the cheeks, on the nose, and of course the chin. Oh, that's the, wait, that's the... I look kind of crazy, but also I'm fucking obsessed. Like oh my, I'm kind of living for it. I'm sorry, I'm kind of obsessed. Now for lip, I guess there's like 9 colors that came with this collection, and I got 8 of them. It seems like they're divided by the packaging that they're in. The reds, obviously the more reddy colors. The pink ones, clearly the pinky ones. And the blue ones are more like the neutrally, kind of like brownie colors. I want to use this one. This one was like speaking to me. It's definitely up my alley. This is how I've been doing my lip makeup lately. I don't want to take credit, but one day I just was using a lip product and this is how I applied it. But it seems like that's what the girls are doing in China. I'm gonna wipe off all the excess on the lid of the product. I'm basically overlining the bottom lip a lot. Like I'm going from the corner down here. Almost going vertically down. I'm using this one color, but we're making a gradation. And then still using the same thing, not dipping back in, putting some on the center. If you have a Cupid's bow, I guess you can kind of like emphasize that, but it's pretty much just going in the center here, like that. The little bit that you took out on the lid right here, I'm picking that up and then putting that in the center. So for the bottom lip, we're emphasizing the entire bottom, right? And on the top lip, we're emphasizing the center. But besides that, I also, whatever's left, I apply right here. And doing that almost extends like, because you know how some people will literally take their eyebrow pencil or something and put a little slit at the corner to make it look like they're smiling. It's kind of like that, but you're not using, I feel like this is a little bit more natural looking. And I'm not extending my lip more than I have to. It's literally just applying it to the very corner of the lip. And it kind of, just ever so slightly, just adds a little bit of definition at the corner. So it makes your lip look more wider and almost like you're smiling. And this formula, I fucking love this formula. Their unicorn lip glosses, literally my go-to lip product of like all time. You like my pajamas? This one, the unicorn lip gloss, best moisturizing lip tint ever that I've ever used. It gives you like this really like smooth, plump gloss effect. It just makes your lips look like really teng-teng-eh. This though is a matte velvety formula, but I love it because it's more on the thick, creamy side, so it doesn't feel as drying as other really thin kind of matte tints that you guys know I don't really like. And it really smooths out the lips and gives you that kind of like dreamy, kind of like, I think this by itself is like perfect. But you know what, let's use the other pink one just for a little bit of, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oof, oof, oh. As much as I loved every single, I'm literally missing foundation on my forehead. As much as I love all these products in this collection, the stuff I use on my face today are the ones that I definitely go to the most. In terms of the eyeshadow palettes, the number 3, 4, and 5 are definitely like my go-tos. Number 3, like this grayish one being like my top pick. But for like the lip tint and the blush, these are the ones I tend to pick just because I feel like they're easier to wear for me, but the other ones, like especially these blue ones, they're all so pretty. And like I said in my last flower nose videos, I would have thought that with this gimmicky packaging, the formulas would be shitty, but they're worth like every fucking cent. They're not the cheapest Chinese makeup brand, they're more like mid-tier, but the fact that you're getting like this beautiful, gorgeous packaging and like this embossing in all your makeup, which mind you, it does go away as you're using it. I just think it's so like, the quality is like there. The quality is definitely there. So I'm thinking of just purchasing the chocolate collection because all that, if you thought this stuff was wearable, that's even more wearable. If you transfer these colors to more like, I guess more wearable, more like brownie and neutral colors, it's definitely more daily friendly, but this is if I'm like really wanting to, if I'm really feeling myself. I feel like when I'm in America, the general thing is that like if I'm doing this and I'm wearing like my like nice clothes, I guess when I go out, people are like, where the fuck are you going? So I feel a little bit self-conscious wearing this kind of makeup in America, but in Korea, like this would be like my, oh, hanging out with ladies at brunch look. I don't know, I feel like that's just like one difference. Oh, hold on. This is kind of, okay, hold on. There's a thumbnail. Okay. Anyway, see you guys in another video. Bye-bye.